So let's have a look at using lists of numbers. Okay, quite often we're using lists of numbers rather than fruits, as you can imagine. And we may, in that case, want to sort them numerically. We might want to have no duplicates, so we might not want unique values only, or we might want some statistics like the maximum value of the numbers, the minimum, the sum of all the numbers, the average number, and so on. So we'll just see some examples to see how to achieve those things. Okay, first example then uses random numbers, so we can get some random numbers to put in our list, and then sorts them. So in the previous examples we've seen where we've had lists, or where we've got some random numbers, we just print them out as a stream of numbers. What if we want to know them in order? Well, all we need to do then is sort them. So this code is very similar to the ones we've seen before, except that rather than just printing them out as we generate the numbers, which is what we've done before, instead we put them in a list, and when we've generated all the numbers, then we print out, then we sort them and then print them out. So you can see we ask the user what's the maximum, minimum and maximum they want, and how many they want. We loop over that number of randoms, so they want 10, we will loop 10 times and add another random number onto the end of the list. And then we sort the list, so they get their numbers sorted. Okay, let's just run that quickly. So let's have numbers between 1 and 10, and we'll have 5 of them, and there you'll see they're sorted. So we've got 2, 4 and 4, so we've got 2 4s then we've got a 5 and a 10, but they are, as you'll see, they're in ascending order, numerical ascending order. Okay, another thing we might want to do is make sure that some of the random values are not duplicated, so they're unique. And all we need to do then is to, whenever we generate a new value, we need to check whether it's already been generated, and if it's already in the list, then we ignore that value and just go on to the next random value. Think of where might you use this? Well, if you were generating lottery numbers, so if you know about the lottery in the UK, it's always done from numbers go from 1 to 50, and they're all unique. Usually by picking out balls, but in this case we can do this. We can simulate that with our program. And the way we check whether the value's already been generated is to use the in operator to see if the value we've just generated already exists in the list, or whether it's a genuine new value. And we only append it to the list if it's not in the list. So here's the code to do that. So we create this empty list called randoms, and we loop while the length of that list is less than the number of randoms that we want. So if the user asks for 10 randoms, we loop while the number of randoms we've generated is less than 10. And notice it's a while loop because we don't know how many times this loop will run, because if we generate lots of numbers that are the same, we just ignore them. So the loop might run 20 times, but we only use 10 of the numbers. Okay, then we generate a random number R, and if R is not in the randoms, then we add it to the list. So this loop will run over and over again, but the list only grows in length if the new number that's just been generated is not in the list. And if it grows in length, then then it tests to see whether the length has now reached the number of randoms we want. So if I run that one, okay, in this example, I've temporarily fixed the values to have 7 randoms and the minimum being between 1 and 50. So it is like the lottery. It's just generating 7 between 1 and 50. You can, of course, if you get the wrong numbers there, you can actually end up with an infinite loop. So if I ask for numbers between 0 and 1, okay, the only possibilities are 0 or 1. If I say they have to be unique, then the only things I can get are 0 and 1. If I ask for three numbers that are unique and between 0 and 1, that's impossible, right? There's no three unique integers between 0 and 1. The only unique integers between 0 and 1 are 0 and 1. So it is possible to get this into an infinite loop if the number of randoms is too big, which is why I've fixed these temporarily to make sure that's not going to happen. Okay, the loop. Some notes about that loop. As I said, it's a while loop because we don't know how many times it will need to run. If the user wants 6 values, but the code generates 3 duplicates, the loop will run 9 times, and it could run hundreds of times trying to find the right numbers. And as I said, if you get the settings wrong, there could be problems. You could get an infinite loop, because if you set, in the example there, if you set min to 1 and max is set to 3, only unique numbers are 1, 2, and 3, and if you ask for 4, the loop will never finish. You'll never be able to find them. And as I mentioned, that bit of code could be used to generate lottery numbers. Okay, I'm going to stop there and move on to the next video.